are and what all that means for you. Okay, it looks like we're recording now. Our OER efforts began in SUNY in 2011 at Tompkins Cortland Community College with the Kaleidoscope Project. This was a Next Generations Learning Challenges grant-funded initiative. It was led by Lumen Learning. The goals of Kaleidoscope were initially to eliminate textbook costs as a barrier to student success, but also to improve course designs and materials based on student learning results. We wanted to create a collaborative community that could support and sustain this change. And we noticed really early on in the project that faculty embraced the opportunities to collaborate. We still hear from faculty to this day saying that's one of the things they like most about OER is the ability to collaborate amongst themselves on a campus, across the system, and in many cases across the country. This, of course, is a major benefit in efforts to improve course design and pedagogy, of course, when you've got multiple people working on something together. Again, faculty still regularly seek those collaboration opportunities. What we found from that project was retention rates increased. Fewer students were dropping courses due to day one access, so they weren't falling behind due to buying textbooks and not having access to publisher materials via access codes. Grades were improving, and this was particularly noticeable early on with college algebra courses, and then later on with the introduction to psychology. There were several major takeaways from the project. Instead of being top-down, scaling OER really is faculty-driven. It can't come from a directive from the provost office or from a dean. It really has to be faculty talking to faculty, encouraging each other, mentoring one another, and they see firsthand how it benefits their classrooms. In order to really move the needle, though, there really needs to be support and collaboration across the campus in order to drive change and innovation. Instructional design support's needed around course development. Library staff is needed to help find resources. And it's essential to use the data to see the impact and trends on campus. In 2012, Open SUNY textbooks was introduced at Geneseo, and this served as an early incubator for the idea of SUNY OER services. A year later, Monroe Community College led a 10-campus IITG-funded project to design and deploy a library service model to increase faculty participation in OER across SUNY. I'm sure Tori recalls that very well. Lumen Learning was involved, and this really was their first multi-campus partnership within SUNY. And the goal really was to build on traditional strengths of SUNY campus libraries by supporting faculty in OER discovery and adoption. That led to increased OER adoption and increased completion and pass rates in the courses that converted to OER. Later on, a Fact 2 task group was formed. Laura Murray remembers that very well. That was a group that I led. It was formed to determine how OER could scale across the system. And the concept of OER services was the result of the work of that task group. The year SUNY OER services was launched, fortunately, we received $4 million in state funding. This has allowed us to scale OER across the system much more quickly and effectively. So SUNY OER Services is part of the Office and Library of Information Services, or OLIS. It's also part of the larger Digital Innovation and Academic Services area of SUNY. We're a shared services organization for campuses that are looking to build, support, and expand OER programs and practices. And our focus is on, of course, lowering costs for students, but also improving the teaching and learning process and empowering faculty like you to use course materials that are best suited to your needs. Our current structure relies on blending existing SUNY services, which you'll see listed on the left side, and our external partnerships, which are listed on the right, that are focused on scaling use of OER in SUNY. Thanks again to that direct state funding, we've been able to make these services and supports available at no cost to SUNY campuses. And utilizing these internal and external partnerships has significantly contributed to successful scaling across the system. And again, the overall goal with all of these partnerships is to increase student success. And my slides do not seem to be advancing. There we go. Okay. Our internal partners allow us to provide critical supports and leverage their services. And these partners include SUNY Online Help Desk support. You may use them now for assistance with online learning and your LMS. SUNY Center for Professional Development for organizing and managing various training and development programs and different activities like today. SUNY Press, they provide publishing and print services. And of course, our key external partners like Lumen Learning and the Open Learning Initiative at Carnegie Mellon University, who provide low-cost digital courseware that use OER. And the courseware provides personalized learning paths for students, analytics dashboards, and Tori will, and maybe Laura will talk more about that in just a moment. And automated messaging. Several other instructor resources are included in those courses. The content is accessible. It meets SUNY EIT policy, goes through a DEI review, and it's aligned with OSCAR. Market cost is $25 to $30 for each of these courses, but again, through the state funding, it allows us to provide these materials for SUNY campuses at no cost. It's comparable, I would say, to the way content's delivered in traditional publisher platforms. The cost there might be $120 to $250 per student, but again, we're able to provide this at no cost to you. The Lumen Partnership also provides resources from the Dana Center at UT Austin. They help with faculty development around QuantWay and StatWay math pathway courses. Lumen courseware aligns with Dana Center's pedagogical approach. So the partnership really made sense for both organizations, and we at SUNY benefit from it. Together, we've learned that OER is really much more than just about the content. We've seen that it really helps faculty think about how they want to reshape their courses and how campuses can shift their culture and sustain change. And as courses are being redesigned with the shift to Brightspace, we think this is a really good time to learn about these options. It's a very easy process for making that transition to a new LMS, such as Brightspace. Early on, our focus was on saving students money on course materials, removing barriers for learning, discovery, and adoption, and educating faculty and staff on open licensing. In 2019, we began to shift our focus on OER to really focus more on improving teaching and learning and continuous improvement by leveraging technology and data. Our current areas of focus are on digital learning, professional development, community development, and sustaining innovation. For faculty development, we provide programs that focus on open educational practices, open pedagogy, inclusion, and reflective practices. Community development, we promote connections and collaboration with students and other faculty. Sustaining innovation, we work with many campuses on sustaining OER efforts and other initiatives on campus, and a lot of that work not only applied just to OER initiatives, but to other initiatives on campus as well. And digital learning, of course, providing a catalog of ready-to-adopt course materials that utilize OER and are built on adaptive technologies, and they provide support for other platforms as well. This is a snapshot of how OER has scaled across the system since 2017. Over 650,000 SUNY students have been enrolled in at least one OER course. Over 2,600 faculty teach with OER, and there are over 21,000 OER course sections. And since the formation of SUNY OER services and initial funding from the state, students and families have saved over $78 million in course material costs. We have a ready-to-adopt catalog. Tori's going to get into this in a little more depth, but it's located at oer.suny.edu. We'll share that link with you as well. It features over 120 high-quality OER courses. We see adoption requests come in nearly every day. Our partnership offers 4 different courseware packages depending on the set of tools faculty want to use with OER to support the type of learning experiences they want to deliver. There's an ebook platform based on Pressbooks called Candela. You'll hear about OHM today, the online homework manager, flexible homework system for math and other quantitative courses. And of course, Waymaker and OLI, the personalized and adaptive platforms. To request a copy of any of these courses, again, go to our website, oer.suny.edu. You click on the course you'd like, and then if you click the Explore this course form, you'll be provided with a basic form that you fill out. It just asks for your name, your role on campus, your email address, and the courses you want. And then Lumen is extremely fast with providing the content and import instructions. They're also available for consultations if you have any questions about the courseware or content. Lumen Learning provides, again, affordable resources designed to strengthen and enhance learning using OER. They work to improve student success, affordability, and access. This is the primary driver why SUNY feels this partnership is so important to us. I'm going to let Tori again and or Laura talk about Waymaker, but as a user of Waymaker, I can tell you it's one of the best platforms, if not the best platform I've used in my teaching. It includes pre-tests, self-checks, quiz results, or they generate personalized study plans that coach students on where to focus, and how to improve their learning. Lots of personalized tools, analytics-based learning tools, a dashboard that identifies struggling students and which learning outcomes with which they're struggling, seamless integration with the learning management system, all the ancillary materials you would expect, assignments, test banks, discussion forums, things like that, PowerPoints. And then the content and tools, again, meet all accessibility standards. That was very important to us in partnering with Lumen, and they've been a tremendous partner in making sure that things do meet the IT policy. This slide highlights the impact of using Waymaker's automated messaging tools. And I'm going to ask Tori and or Laura if they'd like to jump in. This was a slide that was shared with us from Lumen. Essentially, the data was pulled from 100 courses that were selected randomly across the nation that use Waymaker. And as you can see, when the messaging is turned on, students tend to perform better. They remind students to focus on learning outcomes for which they're struggling, or contact the instructor for help before doing their second attempt at a quiz. They also provide sort of a pat on the back that says, hey, nice job. And students are encouraged by these messages and tend to want to continue to do good work. A similar study was conducted at SUNY Erie a few years ago, and it showed similar results. And again, both Tori and I use Waymaker for the courses we teach. And from a personal perspective, I see it as a major time saver. It serves as a teaching assistant in that it helps me easily track student progress and communicate with them on specific learning outcomes for which they're struggling. Tori's more of an expert on the platform, so he can elaborate on this in just a moment.
Yeah, Tony, I agree wholeheartedly. I have a portion of the talk I'm going to give. I'll talk more about it. It's a very powerful tool, though, and Tony is correct. It's great for faculty support. It's faculty that's already a lot we have to do. So if we can find something that can make life a little bit easier for us, I'm all for it. So I'll let you finish up, Tony, and then I'll talk more about it in depth when I get to my presentation.
All right, thanks, Tori. The Open Learning Initiative is a project of the Simon Initiative at Carnegie Mellon University. It provides courseware with openly licensed content that replaces traditional textbooks. It's built upon the findings from decades of research. OLI provides a large number of courses in our catalog. Their courses are trusted globally. They serve as textbook replacements and also as supplemental materials for existing courses. OLI provides materials that can be used in traditional face-to-face courses, online or hybrid classes or HyFlex. It's a platform designed for delivering high-quality materials with the ability to facilitate innovative research and technology-enhanced learning, data science, learning behavior, and more. And they offer a large number of courses. They're mini courses called sidecar courses. They have a handful of modules, but they're designed to focus on particular areas. So, for example, Binghamton University uses one of the OLI resources called Collaborative U. They use it in their chemistry courses for students who work together in teams, for example. As a system, we support practices and solutions that enrich the learning environment. We feel this continues to position SUNY as a leader in empowering faculty and students to recognize their creative potential in meaningful ways. We also want to provide a more robust and adaptive platform for building entire courses, and OLI's Taurus platform allows us to accomplish that. OLI's goals are to improve learning and teaching through science, keeping courses low cost, fostering a community of use, research and development, and focusing on continuous improvement. So you see a theme there between Lumen and SUNY and OLI. Taurus meets these goals by using OER and robust tools that feature things like labs, simulations, tutors. These are all designed to engage students by providing them with lots of practice opportunities. If you'd like to develop a course in Taurus, full training and support are provided by learning engineers at Carnegie Mellon University. If you're planning to attend CIT this year, we'll have a 3-hour pre-conference workshop on Taurus and the course building process. You'll learn a little bit about learning science in the process the learning engineers at OLI use. One of the digital resources that addresses a growing system-wide need for faculty and students to develop and collaborate on innovative and public-facing scholarly and pedagogical web projects is called SUNY Create. This has really gotten a lot of traction over the last year or so. This is a domain of one zone instance hosted by Reclaim Hosting. SUNY Create was established through IITG funding. And again, we've seen significant interest in it since it was launched. This resource really cost effectively provides tools and resources to replace expensive traditional course materials. These types of tools really give faculty and students complete administrative control of their own projects. And I'm happy to share a bunch of links with you so that you can see the different projects and ways that SUNY Create is being used across the system. SUNY creates a web domain space designed for faculty and students to develop and share content, form online groups, build projects and portfolios, and build entire courses. So what types of tools might you find in Create? Well, Pressbooks, a number of campuses utilize Pressbooks or WordPress. Both of those tools are part of SUNY Create. Omeka, which is a web publishing platform, and a bunch of other tools. And users have the option to allow their work to be openly licensed if they wish. Some campuses have built really robust training and support programs for Create. Binghamton's a great example. Again, they provide workshops and a really good support structure around its use. And we'll showcase this also at CIT as OER Services in Binghamton will co-present on this. All the bells and whistles and learning science research, though, are meaningless if we're not actually supporting our faculty. As part of our partnership with Lumen Learning, we offer Lumen Circles. Lumen Circles fellowships invite instructors to collaborate with fellow faculty members through virtual learning circles. Together, they explore evidence-based practices that reflect on teaching experiences and share ideas and feedback. And the Lumen Circles, one would think that they're all based on OER. They're not, as you can see. Course design for student success. This is the newest offering, and it helps faculty design or redesign courses that really support student belonging, learning, and success. Belonging and inclusive teaching fundamentals. These fellowships help faculty explore teaching strategies that support success for all students by helping them feel seen, respected, and included as capable learners and partners in the learning process. And in the fellowship, instructors learn to facilitate inclusive environments where all students feel like they belong and can thrive personally and academically. With active learning, this is designed to engage students more actively in the learning process, so essentially learn by doing. Evidence-based teaching, this is where you learn about how well your teaching and learning activities support student success. Explore backward design and learning outcome alignment, among other topics. Online Teaching Foundation, this is really focused toward faculty who are new to online teaching. It gives them a good foundation on the process of teaching courses online. And of course, teaching with OER and OER-enabled pedagogy. This helps faculty develop teaching capabilities with techniques that apply principles of open education to engage students and strengthen their success using openly licensed content. These fellowships include 9-week community of practice with the faculty from multiple institutions. So again, you have that opportunity for collaboration. Weekly activities to explore, apply, and reflect on effective teaching practices. It's about 2 hours a week you would invest. Build on your strengths and develop skills to expand your teaching repertoire. You set goals and track progress, expanding your teaching practice profile. Work asynchronously in a virtual platform or website, of course, to fit your own schedule. And at the end, you earn a Lumen Circles Fellowship Certificate in effective teaching practice. And this might be good for tenure and promotion and putting that in your portfolio. And we've got a large number of faculty from across all sectors of SUNY who participate in this, and we've gotten excellent feedback on these. So we encourage you to check that out as well. When we look at the Lumen Circles experience, we really break this down into 4 parts. So one is virtual community of practice. So you have roughly 10 to 15 faculty members, some discipline alignments there. You have a facilitator who guides faculty through the 9 weeks. They provide feedback, through peer connections and things like that. The second part is exploring evidence-based teaching practices. So you use appreciative inquiry, you build on strengths, and faculty are encouraged to share and implement new ideas. And as you're preparing a course, this is actually a really good time to engage in a Lumen Circle. The reflection piece, where faculty share ideas they plan to implement in coming weeks. They reflect about how things went. And throughout the entire process, 2 peers and the facilitator are providing feedback. And the last part is deepening student impact and success. So it's all about making small changes each week. Final meta reflection, overall, how did the teaching impact or how did this impact your teaching, and reflecting on goals and creating the goals for moving forward. So again, encourage you to check those resources out as well. All right, that is the end of my part. I'm going to stop sharing. I do have a bunch of SUNY Create project links that I will share with you, just so you can have an idea of how these different resources in SUNY Create are being used. And we'll take any questions you might have. It looks like we do have, oh, it was Tori. Okay, no questions yet. Tori, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, let me grab the screen share. And on the slideshow mode here. So thanks, Tony. You provided a great introduction to a number of things I was going to discuss today. I want to say first, thank you to those who helped set this up. Jen, I remember having a conversation with you and Corey some months back. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to come talk to Hudson Valley about the work that we do at Lumen, about the partnership that Tony mentioned that we have with SUNY OER Services and SUNY overall, and tell you about some of the platforms and opportunities that are available. And the one thing that I really want to focus on is that this is something that is available at no cost to faculty or students. So even if it's something that you're just generally interested in, you know, if you want to take a look at it and you want to implement it in your course, one, I think it's definitely worth a look. And two, we are set up to support faculty. So my name is Tori Matthews. As Tony mentioned, I'm a former SUNY faculty member. I've known Tony for years. Before, I've been with Lumen officially now for about 8 months or so. My colleague is here as well, Laura Murray. Laura Murray was, before she was a colleague, she was a friend, and I've known her for years as well. And it's great to be working with her now. Tony mentioned that I used to be at MCC, so I was a biology professor at Monroe Community College in Rochester, New York. I'm still an adjunct professor when I can find time to do it. And I came to MCC in 2013, right when this IITG grant arrived. So I was immersed in OER, and just a little bit of backstory on how I found OER. I think as professors, teachers, and I think we care deeply about our students. And we know that they deal with so many things, so many struggles that are outside of the classroom that sometimes have the ability to impede their success. Not that they aren't capable, just so many things in their lives that are impacting their ability to be successful. And I was teaching. And so Tony say all my classes are OER, every single class. So to give a perspective, introductory biology, Gen Bio 1 and 2, anatomy and physiology, microbiology, and molecular genetics. Everything is OER. And it started with one student coming to my class who was doing very well. And then all of a sudden she wasn't doing very well. And I told her to come by office hours, and I had this whole plan of how I was going to help her. And when she got there, she kind of burst into tears. And I didn't understand why. And long story short, she told me that she was doing pretty well in the class until it got to the point where she couldn't do well without the textbook because she didn't have it. And she didn't have it because she couldn't afford it. And she couldn't afford it because the money she did have, she had to choose between buying the textbook or a winter coat for her daughter. So she bought the coat. And I thought to myself, there's got to be another way. Like, people shouldn't have to make that choice. And so I started looking for online resources for this student. And I ran into a guy who was director of libraries at MCC at the time named Mark McBride, and the rest is history. So he told me about OER, and here I am in a very unexpected place about 10 years later, right? Here we go. So a little bit about Lumen. I found Lumen at the outset of OER. So I was using an OER text, and it was just an OpenStax textbook that I downloaded. And I was using PowerPoints alongside it. And the thing about moving to OER at first for me was I came to teaching out of a research background. And I love some of the components that came with some of the large publishers in terms of what it gave me the ability to see metrics. I could see how my students were doing. and I could see where they were having problems. And so I really liked that part. And Waymaker, I was told about Waymaker, and they told me that it had some of these components. And so I did some beta testing with it. And long story short, I bought in. So let me first say this up front. There's always, I get it, some questions around OER or courseware. I have a commitment to my students that, I would say to them, I would never compromise their education. I understand the difference it makes in their life. So if this wasn't at least as good or better, I wouldn't be using it. So what are some of the things we focus on at Lumen Learning? Well, technology, right? But our mission centered is to enable unprecedented learning for all students, right? Let's skip all students. So we get so many different types of students, especially at two-year colleges. I know you all understand, right? And we do this in two ways. It was, a lot of effort around, what supports student success. Well, the courseware definitely supports student success, but ultimately we know what really supports student success is what promotes faculty success, because, we are the ones there in front of the class, grading the papers, having the meetings with the students. And so our company has those two components in place, and we offer it through three basic platforms. One of them is called Waymaker. It is a courseware tool. We refer to it as a personalized learning tool, and I'll talk more about how that's personalized. We also have OM, which is our online homework manager. We use this with a lot of our quantitative courses, like our math courses, calc courses. We use it with some chemistry courses. And then there's Lumen Circles, which Tony spoke to you about, which, to sum up, is about creating learning community. A lot of us as professors have a lot on our plate. And so one of the great things about Lumen Circles is it brings people together across disciplines, within disciplines, to share ideas, to create a pool of resources. To have someone listen to your idea and give you constructive feedback so that we don't feel alone. And it's also great for understanding what are best practices. Like if I'm teaching a psych course and you're teaching a psych course, or if I'm teaching biology and you're teaching biology, and I'm having an issue in my bio course with students understanding the chemistry review and atoms and, and electrons and protons and neutrons, but you have an amazing tool that you use in your class that seems to be effective, to be in a space where we can share that. As faculty members, I think it helps us all to be more successful overall. This comes with outstanding customer support. So just a little bit of background, this is a 2022 customer survey. It's like a 96% customer satisfaction rate. And when we talk about support, we mean like there's a help desk. We work closely with SUNY OER services. We have a help desk. We have support through Lumen. We work closely with our partners at OLI and their support. Median time for response is about 18 minutes. And over the course of 2022, there was a 99.9% uptime for Waymaker, OM, and Lumen Circles. So it's a stable platform. There's a lot of support behind it. And again, all this is included in our SUNY Lumen partnership. To start talking more about the tools, I want to speak first to Waymaker. We call it curated learning. So I just want you to imagine what we can envision as kind of a perfect world for working with students, right? We come into a classroom, we approach students, students can tell us, okay, we can identify what they know, where their weaknesses are, and then we have the ability to work with them to address those individual needs throughout the course of the semester. We all know that's very difficult because not only are we teaching classes, we're on committees, we're on boards, and we have office hours. And at some point, we also have a life, I think, right? We need to go home, maybe eat some food, have lunch, right? So it's a lot. But with Waymaker, it's a way that students, it's a process when using Waymaker where we have the ability to measure students' knowledge about a certain topic, identify where their weaknesses are, and then the program itself develops a study plan for each of those students based on their strengths and their weaknesses. It comes with messaging tools for us professors, and it comes with analytics where, like Tony said, at a glance, we could take a look and to say, if we're looking across a course learning outcome and we see that there is a trend that students are not doing particularly well in this, with reference to this particular CLO. Well, that can mean one or two things, right? Did that, Was there something that happened in class that didn't come through quite clear? Was it that, is there a misinterpretation of the information? Well, as professors, isn't it great to know about this early on, not later, not when we get to the summative assessment, but when we're still in the formative stage. So you can see, and then I've had it happen to me. I was like, well, you know what, students didn't do very well on this particular question. I go back to class and I say, okay, well, let's go over this again, just to make sure everybody got it. So you can see it. It starts out like this. You know, there's I'm gonna start on the right side, then I'll go through the left. Imagine coming into a course, and the first thing you see is why it matters. So this is just every student clicks in this, and it tells them why what you're learning is important right now. Why is it relevant to you? Trying to build a connection for them in terms of them wanting to understand the information and how it applies to their life. Then there's a quick formative test. It's not graded, just show what you know. So it takes a look at the CLOs that are being covered in this particular module, and it gives them just a basic quiz, right? Just let's see where you are. And then when it's done, it gives that student feedback to say, well, you got this part pretty well, but here's areas where you need to work a little bit harder. And it also shows you as a faculty member, with the time restraints that we have in class, sometimes we have so much to cover. Here are places where students seem to have a pretty nice grasp of things, and here are areas where I need to focus more in terms of lecture time and support for students, and maybe even assignments. And then after that, they go through a dive in. So they break down each individual piece of that CLO and those learning topics into small groups. And as they read through these small modules called dive in, they're reading what we call active text. So they read the text, it's in a digital format on their computer, and then they may get through a paragraph or two, and then there's a question to ask them about what they just read, right? So it keeps it fresh in their mind. Waymaker is a platform that one embeds seamlessly to your LMS. It covers a host of common course topics. They're all organized around learning outcomes, and we have this built into each course, and you can see in an Excel sheet what the course learning outcomes are. You can see which practice questions, interactive videos are attached to those course learning outcomes. It comes with optional discussions and assignments that are embedded in your LMS as well. The gradebook syncs with your LMS. It includes module study plans, quizzes that are built into the study plans, and you can rearrange it or modify it to fit your preference. And one of the really cool things is the questions that they're seeing in the formative phase as they're going through the material are not the same questions they will see in the summative phase. So it comes with a test bank. And those questions that they're seeing while they're going through the material are not the same questions that you will be using on an exam. There is an engagement center. So I'll say this. One of the things that was pushed to me when I first started using Waymaker was, Tori, you really want to use this messaging system? And I'm just going to be very honest. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I just felt like, I felt it was kind of odd. You know, it's an automated system. So you set it up and it sends automated messages based on your set parameters. So there could be messages that for students who are experiencing complications. So I would offer quizzes and I give them two chances to take the quiz, but you set your mastery threshold. So I say if a student doesn't get an 80%, you get another chance to go back and get it, but you only get 2 shots at it. So the first time they take it, they get a 72. An automated message would come and tell them, hey, I see you tried taking quiz for module number 3, you didn't quite get to the 72%. You just want you to know you have another chance to do it. Feel free to drop by office hours. And I would set up automated messaging so that I would include my office hours, where my office was. And I felt, it just felt disingenuous at first, but they convinced me. They said, Tori, try it. So I set it up. And let me tell you, it's one of the best things I ever did. But I was completely honest with my students. I told them, listen, I know some of you are working late and you get off work at midnight and you're taking a quiz at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You're going to take the quiz and you're going to pass it. And you're going to get an email that says, nice work. You got it on your second try, or you got 100. Great job. You know, keep up the hard work. I told them that's not me. I'm not emailing you at 1:30 in the morning. I'm not awake. I'm very much asleep. At this time, we had like twins that were born. So I was like, I might be awake, but I'm definitely not grading your papers. But it was very interesting how it was kind of a joke in the classes, but students really appreciated it. I had students who would respond to my automated messages and they would say, thank you for just thinking enough to set it up, because we don't know what students are going through. So even though it's automated, the fact that we took the time to do it, that encouragement that they got in that space is sometimes the difference maker. And I know we all want to do that. So here we have a system that allows us to do it. And if you go into Waymaker, it literally is, you set it up with your email address, your first name, your last name, your signature, and then you go in and set up requirements. So you can go in and edit the messages that you're sending. You can make it time sensitive. So hey, if a student if they just failed, let's get it out right now. Or if there's trend cross quizzes or their grade, it looks like it's going to lead to, this area quiz is going to lead to lowering their grade, it finds them. And then there's a mastery threshold. Like if you can say, I want to set it 85 or 90%. Like I found that if I set it at 80 and students are meeting that, typically they're going to do pretty well in the class. What does this look like when you're setting it up? So I won't go through all of them, but I will say this, there are study tips, nice work, and then there's preventative messages as well. And they all come with templates. So under study tips, here's 3 messages templates. Under nice work, there's 4 message templates. And if you look off to the right, they look like this. So on the left side, you see the template that you're given, and you're able to go in and edit the template so that it reads the way that you want on the right. It automatically will include the student's first name. You can go in and it'll automatically include the primary outcome or goal of the particular area where they're struggling, if it's a particular quiz. And like I said, you can type in information like your office hours or where your office is located. All that'll go out to them in an email. And because there's multiple templates, they're not receiving the same email each time. So the algorithm changes up which messages they're getting. I'll move on to OHM. So OHM is our online homework manager. As I mentioned before, we use it mainly for quantitative subjects. So we use it for a lot of math, like all of our math courses. I know we use it for chemistry at MCC. So all our chemistry 100 level courses are in OHM. And I can say I taught the first bio course in Waymaker back in 2015. And now all of our bio courses at MCC are in Waymaker. OHM also embeds into your LMS, but it can also live outside of your LMS if you wanted to. It's its own system. It has an extremely large test bank that's being updated all the time because we have faculty members now who've been using OHM for 4 or 5 years, and they wanted to add some of their own assessment questions. So we've had them work with some of our coders to teach them how to do that. So I think the test bank is like 25,000 questions plus right now, but it's still growing. You can customize your course. We have a host of templates, but you can take those templates and change them and modify them so that it fits the way you teach. It's simple to set up. And again, it comes with world-class support. So it is a mixture of formative and summative assessment. So there's a lot of just formative assessments throughout the OHM as you're going through a particular topic. We are partnered up with Desmo. So there's interactive graphing that's embedded into OHM. There's access, so tutor level, you can have a tutor have access to OHM if they want to work with a student. You can set up late passes. We have video cued assessment, so they start watching a video, it'll stop at a certain point and then ask them a question. You can do live polls, and you can set up assessment restrictions. It also embeds in your LMS, like I said, or you can run it from an external platform. We call it OHM alone. Like that's kind of a catchy term. So you can embed it in Candela or Brightspace or whatever it may be, or Blackboard, or you can just go to the OHM website and run your class there. And then there's circles. Tony talked a lot about this in detail. So what I want to do is kind of take a moment to say what I found to be the most important part for me. We are, even in certain universities, we kind of exist in silos. Right? We have humanities on one side and sciences on the other side. A lot of times in our busy days, we don't really get an opportunity to connect with faculty members in a very meaningful way, to talk about struggles we're having or to discuss ideas. This provides that in a virtual manner, and it allows you to connect with faculty, not just from your institution, but across institutions. And the cool thing about circles is you can set them up in a number of different ways. You could have a department or a division come to us and say, we want to do something within our division to connect faculty. And so we want to set up a circles cohort amongst our institution in this particular division. And you can work with our director of operations for Lumen Circles, Amanda Telgen, and we can get that set up for you. Tony says it takes about 2 hours a week. Most of them are about 9 weeks in length. We do have some shorter ones around like course design. Tony mentioned a few of the circles. So you choose the theme and how you want to develop as a teacher. So course design for student success, that's one of the shorter ones. We have developed one of these specifically for SUNY because we had faculty members who wanted to understand how do I integrate, how do I consider and think about, you know, DEISJ initiatives, you know, with the upcoming Gen Ed changes for fall 23. So we've designed course design circles specifically for SUNY. There's one on active learning, belonging and inclusive teaching. We have a huge amount of people who are taking this circles now. We have a great partnership with Rockland Community College and their faculty cohort, where they're running like maybe 30, 40 different faculty through this. Evidence-based teaching, online teaching foundation, and of course, teaching with OER and OER-enabled pedagogy. And for people who are using Waymaker and OHM, a new tool, we also have what are called Waymaker and OHM accelerators, where you can come in and learn how to use the platform effectively. This is the SUNY OER Ready to Adopt Courses catalog. That's the web address there at the top, oer.suny.edu. I put this in the chat. If you are interested in any courses, you can go to the website. You can click on any of these areas of instruction, or you can go down and type a particular course into the search menu. I did an example here of just psychology. You type in psychology and you'll get an abnormal psych and an introduction to psych, and then the introduction to psych through OLI. So as Tony mentioned, we also work with the Online Learning Initiative out of Carnegie Mellon. We don't share the same platforms, but we share the same mission, and we're all a part of this goal for SUNY to make this experience for students, for our SUNY students, to make this experience one that is inclusive, one that is accessible, and one that allows them, one, to be more affordable, to be effective, so they can retain students, they can graduate, go on to careers. So we work a lot with them. Any of these courses that you find in the catalog are available to SUNY faculty. If you were to click on the Intro to Psychology Waymaker course, this is what will pop up. And there's a couple things I want to point out. One, this is the Explore the Course button. If you click on this button, it's going to take you to a sheet. You're going to type in your information, and it's going to send a message to Laura or myself, and we're going to deliver you a cartridge. If you just want to take a look at what's inside the course, you can click on the button here that says View Course Content and Outcomes, and it'll take you and show you what's set up in each module, all the topics that are covered. You could take a look at the ancillary materials like a test bank or the PowerPoint. So it gives you a chance to look at the course, because for some of these, especially if you get into the math courses, there's so many different versions that'll give you an opportunity to take a look at what's available, right, before you ask for a cartridge. Or, and we love to do it, right, if you want 2 or 3 cartridges because you're not sure and you just want to put them in your LMS and take a look, just click on the Explore this Course button and we can help you out. So this is OLI. I put the address in here, the web address, so if you wanted to go and take a look, you can. OLI is been doing this since 2001. You know, they really are, along with Lumen, helping to inform what it means to learn now. You know, I took a lot of biology courses. So I was a double major in molecular and cell biology. I minored in chemistry, math, and physics. And what I can tell you is the way students learn now, even though it's the same material, it's different. And I think, you know, utilizing technology to our advantage as a way to accomplish our goals as faculty members is something that is different for us. It may be a little uncomfortable, but it's definitely effective working with this new generation of students who are very much digital, right? They look at a textbook. I'll tell you a funny story. I have students say, you know, I never like reading textbooks, but I love reading the information in Waymaker. And it's so funny to me because it's the same information from the textbook. It's just on a computer screen. But to them, it's a website. Okay, fine, whatever. They read it and the grades go up. So I'll take it. I don't try to explain it. I tried to explain it. Then I realized, stop, Tori, don't do it. Just let them have it. Let's wrap it up. This is the information for circles. Again, I put all this in the chat. Lumen Circles, if you are a faculty member, staff member, any stage of your career, you do not have to be using courseware to join the circles. Okay. One of the things we talk about with eligibility is like, it's good if you are actively teaching a course, doesn't have to be using courseware while you're taking a circles, because it is about developing a learning community. But if there's something you want to do outside of that, again, you can reach out through this website, fill out first name, last name, information sheet, and you can talk with Amanda Telgen and she can help you work through the process of what you want to do. Thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing us to speak. Again, these are the two websites you can go to. This is my email address here. So if you need anything or you have any questions, feel free to reach out and contact me.
So Tori, I just want to quickly jump in with a PSA on the OLI site. If you go to the main OLI site, that's great. You can get information there, but do not sign up for a course or an account at that main site. Use the Explore course form. It comes to me. I set up the account for you on the SUNY OLI server. Because if you go through the main OLI site, you're going to end up hitting their paywall and I won't know what you're doing, so I won't be there to support you. So just use the Explore course form. The site is great if you want to learn about OLI and kind of see everything that's going on, but definitely use the catalog if you want to try out an OLI course.
Thanks, Laura.
Okay.
Now, if you have any questions, Tony, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Tori. I'm going to share the link, by the way, to the catalog in case you have not navigated there yet. So you can't go wrong if you go to this address. And as Laura mentioned, that will get you access to the Lumen courses as well as the OLI courses. We have a dedicated server for both. And again, no paywall there. We are picking up the cost on that, and we encourage you to go there. You will see all the learning outcomes there. So before you even decide to adopt anything or even request a copy of the course, you can go in and see what the learning outcomes are and to see if any of the content matches what you need for your courses. Are there any questions at this point? We've thrown a lot at you. We've got a lot of different resources and supports that are available to you. Are there any questions right now as you're kind of thinking about all these different things that are available? Any questions at all?
I was just going to mention that I did a Lumen Circle Fellowship last spring. I did the OHM Accelerator Lumen Circle. It was fantastic, fantastic. And now I'm using OHM in each of my online math courses, and the students seem to like it. I would like to get some support on creating my own questions. I haven't been able to figure that out. Is there somebody that I can reach out to help me with that?
Well, if you stay posted, I can keep you in the loop. We're actually working with the New York State Math Association of two-year colleges. So you got a meeting coming up in 2 weeks to present a workshop there virtually on that Saturday morning to talk about this. So I got a meeting about that this coming Tuesday. So that was one of the things that those people who've been working with OHM for a while and have asked about is like, if I want to put some of my own things in there, how do I do it? And we have faculty members who are doing it. So we're going to be working with Brian Melville and Dave from Erie Community College. And so that's in the process.
Awesome. Good. Thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts? Okay. Well, I guess we can wrap up here. You have contact information for both of us. I'm going to put my email in the chat.
So now, can I say this before we leave? I'm having a flashback when you were going through the first couple of slides, because I remember 2013 and starting at MCC, and shifting to teaching was something that surprised me, but you're born a teacher. I guess I was always kind of meant to do it. And I love teaching. It's like, I will always teach because I love helping students. And I am so grateful for the professors that I had. This was so, when I first saw OER and started thinking about moving away from traditional text, it was a bit daunting. And I remember sitting in a conference that year that I met Mark McBride, he put me in the back of a van with like 3 other people, and we drove down to Virginia to the first OER meeting. That was an interesting trip. Like 6 or 7 hours, me and Mark just talking. And I remember going to the meeting, and I was in one of the sessions, and there was a person sitting next to me. And this is crazy because I didn't know who she was back then. It's Katie Lynch. So she's at Rockland Community College. And she was like, so you use OER? And I was like, I'm thinking about it. And I'm nervous. I don't know what to do. And she looked at me and said, just do it. She's like, nothing's perfect when you start, but if you don't ever start, you won't ever make any progress. And that was it. I was all in from there. So I just encourage you, if you are considering it, take a look at the material. I didn't do it. I did it because, one, it's effective. It's really helped my students. And I'll tell you, it's nothing like walking into a classroom the first time. And I tell students that this is the material we're using and that it's not going to cost them anything. And for a lot of students, that means a lot. And I'll tell you, the first time I did that and I saw one of my students crying, I was like, man, you just never know the difference that $120 makes in somebody's life. When you can say, hey, here's something that's just as good. So take a look at it. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to me. Laura too, she's amazing, and Tony.
Those are similar stories I think many of us can share from the teaching aspect. I would say early on, Tori, when you were thrust into OER in those early days, it was more difficult. There weren't a lot of resources available, or quality resources available. Things have changed immensely, having not only a good platform, but I think you would agree with one of the best platforms available for educational materials, and not to mention the ability to customize the content and all of the resources that are available. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible to adopt so that you don't have to go through that process that we went through 10 years or so ago.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't as easy 10 years ago. I was balled up in the corner of my office trying to figure out, like 2 days work class, I started like, how's this going to work? How's this going to work? But I made it an adventure for the whole class, and students were like, we're in this together. So,
yeah, OER used to mean DIY. It no longer means that.
so
It
much
just means
support
your
there.
content is openly licensed. You do not have any copyright barriers to anything you're doing.
Yeah, and
But,
the community
right.
of people who use it, it's just this mindset of individuals. Once you meet enough of them, there's nothing really you don't have access to. It's great to be in a virtual meeting, someone's showing an assignment, and you're like, I really like that. And they're like, I'll send it to you. I'm like, okay, it takes care of chapter 3. I appreciate you, right? Because that's definitely better than what I had. I love that mentality about this group in general. So, it is a community. If you are feeling like, maybe I don't want to do this, or maybe I am, I would say, maybe consider reaching out to myself, or maybe joining a circles, or just meeting more people. Come to the CIT meeting for sure. There's a lot of folks around there that are working with it. And Tony is an amazing resource.
I know I don't know numbers, but I know there are quite a few faculty at Hudson Valley using OER. For those from Hudson Valley, Brenda Hazard from our library, she was going to join today, but she had something come up and wasn't able to, but she is a resource over in the library and how the library can assist Hudson Valley faculty. But I do have, I don't know if it's kind of a touchy question or not, but as far as the resources being open and available, the Lumen resources and all being free for SUNY students, is that something you see being here to stay? Because I know some people might be nervous to get started on it, and then, a couple of years down the road, find out that it's no longer going to be available for free.
So we are in a 3-year contract. We had a contract prior to that. Our goal at SUNY is to continue making the resources available at no cost to SUNY campuses as long as we can. We have no reason to believe that the current situation is going to change. That being said, we can't look that far down the road because things do change, things do come up. But it is our intention to, for as long as we possibly can, continue providing these resources available, make them available at no cost to SUNY campuses. And, provided we continue getting New York State funding, which we have now, I believe, for 7 years straight, and I believe we'll continue to get that. we're very optimistic that this will continue.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Jen, I'll say this, I've in the process of looking for course material for my classes. At the price point that Lumen was offering it, and now being on the other side now and seeing how many institutions they're working at, in terms of ROI, return on investment, I think the courses are anywhere between, 25, 35. That's, students seem to be, and we've taken polls. If we were born kind of out of partnership with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, students seem to say their return on investment, they're willing to. But I'm with Tony. What you have at SUNY is so unique. I mean, you're at the forefront. It's a model that I think many large systems could benefit from, just in terms of what we see with the software and its ability to help increase student retention and student success in courses.
Thanks. Oh, I thought of one more question. I'm sorry. I'm like hogging all the time here. We are for Brightspace D2L. We are in the cohort 3. So we haven't started. We are training right now. We will be moving over to that platform this summer. Are you seeing that things are integrating okay with Brightspace from Lumen and from Waymaker and Ohm and each of those platforms?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So, Jen, mid-April, we'll be ready to start offering Ohm integration, but right now you are all set with Waymaker. I've already had extensive communication with Linda Ryder. So right now she's handling pretty much all the imports. She hasn't given the import privileges yet to faculty just because she wants to understand everything. But imports are working fine. It's really just a matter of understanding how things look in Brightspace, even for instructors who've used it before, how they look, how to manage things. And so, yes, everything's fine with Waymaker. We'll be getting the back end work done with SUNY Online mid-April and then up and running in Ohm. So just background, we've always been compatible with Brightspace. So we didn't have to do anything differently to support this. Lumen has always been able to integrate into Brightspace.
Great. Thanks.
Any other questions? Great questions, by the way, Jen. Okay. Well, on that note, I think we can wrap up and give you 1 minute of your day back. And again, we thank you so much for being here, and we're here for you if you have questions. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Great meeting you.
Thank you.